Now, why does it matter that there are three languages that were root languages? Well, what it tells you is that there are three creation stories that are true. Okay, so imagine this: there are three people that came together on this planet to create, and they each have their own language. Is that possible? Yes, definitely possible. Everything is possible. Okay, the only question is if you want to go down their probability, right? And then you can do mathematics behind it. But anything is possible. So three root languages are Tamil, Hebrew, and Sanskrit. That's according to linguists. Okay. Now there are languages that we haven't discovered yet, and I'm not sure if they consider languages like Klingon and Vulcan and Elvish and things of that nature. There are a lot of languages. And so why do I say, what does three have to do with it? Well, let's say we colonize Mars. Okay, when we colonize Mars, there's a simple mathematical formula behind it. You need to send one man for every 608 women, and then you can colonize as quickly as the men that you send there. So let's say we send, I don't know, how fast do you want to colonize Mars? You'd have to do a calculation. What's the demand? How many people want to go to Mars? And you're going to start the trips to Mars. One man to every 608 women, and then there's going to be which parts of the culture do you want to preserve, which languages do you want to preserve. There's a bunch of entropy you need to consider. If you really want to make it a redundant planet, not a redundant, you want to make it a preservation of human consciousness. So let's definitely do that. We will colonize Mars, but keep this in mind. A woman gets pregnant, for 9 months she's pregnant. In the best case, she's a non-mommy, meaning she has the capability of having 9 children at a time. And there is probably better cases. I'm being reasonable here. A non-mommy, I want to find the number that is statistically the best. And so you have a woman having a baby every 9 months, 9 babies, and that's her litter. And then she has 2 breasts, and she breastfeeds those babies until they are 4 or 5 years old. Okay, so given that the woman is such a integral part of the preservation of the species, then when we colonize Mars, we need to send, with each woman, we need to send a man. With each man, we have to look at his throughput. A man can, on average, impregnate every 3 days. Okay, there are other men with higher skill and ability that might be able to go every day or two. I don't know, but for me, it's every 3 days. You can tell it takes time to build up the sperm. Okay, there's an alchemical process. You need to be bringing the energy into your testicles, and you need to allow the sperm to produce. It's a factory down there, basically. So depending on your factory, maybe there's another man that can really, really get out there, and he can, every hour. If that's the case, then that man definitely needs to go to Mars, right? So I'm just dealing with averages here. But let's assume it's 3 days. If there's a way to do it in an hour, then that's the type of person you need to send to Mars to preserve the species. Do you understand? It's simple mathematics. You're going to colonize the planet. You need to get up there, and you need to get up there with the right supplies, and you need to get up there to get self-sufficiency. So you need to send a lot more women than men. Assuming the man can impregnate every 3 days, the man needs to take 608 women. Okay, one man, 608 women. If the man is able to impregnate quicker than that, then there should be more women. Let's say he's able to do it 3 days is 72 hours. Let's say he's able to impregnate a woman every 7.2 hours, then you need to send 10 times as many. Okay, so 6,080. Okay, that's the mathematical. You can run a simulation on it, and what that allows is you to get people to Mars and to have the babies coming. Okay, and if you're sending pregnant women, you want to send them early on because they weigh less. It's simple mathematics. Let's say you're sending a rocket. The rocket can take a certain amount of weight. Okay, what's the weight that the rocket can take? I don't know. Perhaps it can take 76 tons. So you're allowed to take 76 tons to Mars. You have to make a decision. How many people do you take versus food and other supplies? Okay, and the best thing to do is to take a woman and then have that woman breastfeed children, and then you need to take a man, and the man is going to provide the semen for the children. And once they're on Mars, you need to provide them with food, okay, until they are able to grow food on Mars. And that's basically, if you think about how to colonize a planet, you will understand creationism, and you will understand all of the morality and what's really going on in your world and what is your position on this planet, because there's no way we should send any fudge packer to Mars. It makes no sense. You don't need to be packing fudge in Mars. It's non-productive Congress. It's an aberration, okay? I'll be upfront. in terms of women who support each other, definitely we need them there. You need to be able to ensure the survival of the species. So it's okay to have women that bond together and they support each other. And now there might be personality conflicts. In that case, you need to have enough space so that the litter can be divided, right? And that's it. One man, 608 women, unless that man has a genetic mutation that allows him to generate sperm quicker. In that case, the number goes up in terms of the ratio, the optimal ratio of men to women when we colonize Mars. Now, that's the first generation. The second generation, you need to understand, we don't want incestuousness. So let's say you have one man, 608 women, and all these children are created. You need to have a second man with 608 women, because then you can have marriage between the second generation. So at a minimum, 2 men and 608 times 2 women.